Just about time for us to head to the phone to find our friends. It's 14 minutes to 9 o'clock, and therefore time for AgroBuzz. Now, enhancing the safety and security of our farms by protecting them against Praedial larceny and other criminal threats is becoming increasingly important. And this week, we're getting an overview of the first farm safety webinar that was held by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Praedial Larceny Prevention Coordination Unit last Friday. And it was, of course, in collaboration with the JCF. So, we've got on the phone Superintendent Oral Pascoe, head of the Praedial Larceny Prevention Coordination Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Hello, Soup. How do you do, sir? Let me see. Where can I find you?
I want to say thank you for facilitating us this morning. I also want to thank the members of the Praedial Larceny Prevention Coordination team at the Ministry, Ms. Kalisha Hall, Ms. Alicia Gordon, and other support staff from the Ministry, presenters and farmers who participated in our first farm security webinar last Friday, I think it was. So I really appreciate the support.
Let's provide some context of why that was so important. How widespread is Praedial larceny in Jamaica?
Okay, great question. Over the past decade, Praedial larceny activity has been very impactful on our farmers, fisher folks, and I'm listening. We have to mention the fisher folks because they are highly impacted and often perpetrated on large scale. Some farmers losing entire herds, and a good example. Of course, we have seen in the media one farmer losing 30 animals, livestock, farm produce. Fisher folk also are suffering from the hands of thieves, oftentimes losing all their fishing equipment and gear. In some instances, it entails high levels of violence from organized gangs with high-powered weapons with no regard for human life, who oftentimes use the proceeds to procure weapons, ammunition, and other illicit goods. With the exception of Kingston West, and Central Kingston Central Police Division, over the last 7 years, all parishes have reported incidents of Praedial larceny consistently. The highest being, and I'm giving a ranking, Manchester, Portland, St. Catherine North, South, Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, and so on and so forth. The JCF stat shows that over 1,000 such instances in the past 7 years, during reported instances, I might add, which is critical to what I'm going to say. We believe that it is an underreported activities, and there's an estimate an annual average loss of between 5 to 10 billion for farmers and fisher folk.
That's a lot. What were the particular objectives behind the safety webinar series?
Okay, so of course the theme for the series was strengthening food security through technology, innovation, and policies. We call it TIPS. So that is the mantra that we're going with, because those, of course, have to work together to get where we want to go. We are focused on solutions to protect the investment of our farmers and fisher folks who work hard to put food on our tables. And when I mean hard, our Jamaicans, of course. So those are the critical things. Could I go into some of the areas that we covered?
Sure.
Okay.
A summary. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, obviously. Summary. All right. So we covered farm basics. We covered how to utilize prevention mechanism offered with the agro sector, farm registration, receipt books with color and need, showcasing security solutions that exist locally for both farmers and fisher folk. The overall objectives of Farm Webinar series are to place dedicated focus on security challenges faced by our farmers and fisher folks, and facilitate open discussions with agencies, security experts, providers, related entities to ensure farmers and fisher folks garner vital information on security innovation solutions to implement viable means of protection and deterrent for potential thieves.
Now, that's a lot. And for those who couldn't have tuned into the webinar, how can they still access? Is there any way for them to still access that information?
Yes, this information exists currently on the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. There's a YouTube. There is a YouTube page that they have, and this is, of course, under the theme Praedial larceny Prevention Webinar, Security Webinar. So it is there and running. It was loaded up basically almost immediately. It's about 3 hours, but it's very interesting. and it's more of a back and forth, and persons asking questions with presenters, key questions, and there's a follow-through. So some of these activities, they are there, and it's an interesting read, I might add. I would ask persons to go, if they weren't able to come, and actually look and watch this webinar, this recent webinar.
I love that. So they can even watch it in parts if needs be. So those who perhaps can't even go and or can go but are curious right now, as we close, can you share with us the top 4 safety measures you think our farmers should consider when protecting their farms?
As you say, I'm going to be short. Limit access to your property. Where possible, put security barriers, physical barriers in place, fence gates, etc. The next one that will come in mind, the use of surveillance and alert mechanisms where possible, modern technology such as solar surveillance cameras, alternate low-cost solutions such as hunting cameras, very cost-effective, that can record and take photographs when motion is detected. So some of the coconut farmers and the produce farmers can put that to capture the picture of some of the perpetrators to aid investigation. GPS tracking devices attached to fishing boats, nets, traps. Alarm system can also be installed and added value to farm security. Lighting is also important. And on two of the last main thing is traceability. Mark your property or livestock. We recommend that you place unique markings on your equipment for identification purposes, both for farmers and fisher folk. Farmers should also take full advantage of the National Animal Identification and Traceability System, NATE. Yes, NATE. For cattle, and also tag other livestock where possible. Because thieves are hesitant to take what can be readily identified. And of course, remain vigilant and alert. That is very important. Report all suspicious activities to the police. If you witness theft or any other suspicious activities, don't approach the offenders directly, because of course you know there might be a confrontation. Call the police emergency number 119 or Crime Stop 311. I have others but I know there might be a time constraint, so I won't go into great details.
Well, we love the details that you did share with us today. Always a pleasure to speak with you, Superintendent Pascoe. Thank you for the job done by you and your team, and for speaking with us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, no problem. Folks, you heard it there. Superintendent Oral Pascoe, Praedial Larceny, significantly affecting the operations of our farmers and livelihoods. And I think he mentioned it, one of the most underreported categories of crime in Jamaica, underreported. So let's continue to arm ourselves with the knowledge and strategies that can protect our farms while we are working with the relevant authorities, like Superintendent Pascoe, to apprehend those involved in the acts of Praedial larceny. All right, so that's it for us today. AgroBuzz, follow the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries on Facebook at Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Check them out on Twitter and Instagram at MOAFJM. Join us next week, Wednesday, for another edition of AgroBuzz.